There are so many people who want to do something, who have offered to help, who see this nightmare unfold and want to make it better somehow. We love and appreciate that so much. For those of you who are looking to take action right now.
So we've been listening to the news conference held by officials after the mass shooting yesterday in Louisville, Kentucky. That is the mayor, Craig Greenberg, who was expressing some political thoughts there. I'm not sure if all of that was necessary.
Wait, what was that?
Now,
so we've been listening to the news conference held by officials after the mass shooting yesterday in Louisville, Kentucky. That is the mayor, Craig Greenberg, who was expressing some political thoughts there. I'm not sure if all of that was necessary.
Sadly, there was another mass shooting in America, and while Republicans look to blame anything but the gun, right-wing media is busy cutting off coverage about the shooting. I feel like we're stuck in a perpetual loop where every day we wake up and have to reset the counter to 0 days since mass shooting. At the time of filming this episode, there have been nearly 150 mass shootings so far in 2023, and we just passed 100 days into the year. I know Republicans are all about banning math, so let me just break it down for them. Those numbers are very bad. Republicans love to argue that more guns makes us safer, and if that were actually true, then the United States would be the safest place on earth, but sadly, it's not. Mass shootings are becoming so commonplace that the degree of knowing someone who has been the victim of gun violence shrinks every day. I mean, you don't have to go any further than Kentucky's Democratic Governor Andy Beshear, who lost a close friend and has another friend in the hospital because of the Louisville shooting.
I thought she deserved to know, and we're real close, I think, right now to where I made that call hardest. I've been governor during this pandemic. I've been governor during tornadoes and floods, and negative 45-degree wind chills and everything else. And we've lost a lot of people during those, but calling your friend's wife, who's also your friend, to tell her that her husband is gone is amongst the hardest things I have ever done. But at the same time, she deserved to know.
And just a couple weeks ago, a survivor of the Highland Park mass shooting in 2022 was on vacation in Nashville, where another mass shooting was taking place at the Covenant Elementary School.
Aren't you guys tired of being here and having to cover all of these mass shootings? I'm from Highland Park, Illinois. My son and I survived a mass shooting over the summer. I am in Tennessee on a family vacation with my son, visiting my sister-in-law. I have been lobbying in D.C. since we survived a mass shooting in July. I have met with over 130 lawmakers. How is this still happening? How are our children still dying, and why are we failing them? Gun violence is the #1 killer of children and teens. It has overtaken cars.
Only in America can this type of thing happen. And just to give you perspective, the Highland Park mass shooting was a half block down from my dad's business. I also have friends whose family members are students at Michigan State, which just had a recent school shooting. And some of the students at Michigan State have now lived through 2 mass shootings. People are outraged, and rightfully so, like Ted Williams, a former D.C. homicide detective.
I am sick and tired of standing in front of a camera. Neil, you and I have been on numerous occasions where people, young people, have lost their lives. 4 people left home this morning, and 4 people are not coming home tonight. We have to talk about guns. AR-15 are killing our babies and our citizens in this country, and we've got to do something about it.
And here's MSNBC host Nicole Wallace expressing that very same frustration.
The uniquely American problem. You go to work, you go to school, you go to church, you go grocery shopping, and you can be gunned down in a mass shooting because we live in a country where widespread, seemingly random mass gun violence is the norm. That's who we are. This is how we roll here. It's a horrifically long list.
But as we know, the pro-life Christian Republican Party won't lift a fucking finger to save innocent lives. Republican Representative Tim Burchett literally said that in response to the Covenant School mass shooting that happened in his home state of Tennessee.
It's a horrible, horrible situation, and we're not going to fix it.
I mean, the most that Republicans will do is try to expel any lawmakers who speak out against gun violence, like they did with the Tennessee 3. And boy, did that backfire. But remind me again who the fascists are in America? So, as mass shootings continue to rise, Republicans will just send thoughts and prayers as they turn a blind eye to accept another check from the NRA. And Kentucky Representative Morgan McGarvey has something to say about those thoughts and prayers.
I am a person of faith. I was raised in the church. We've raised our kids in the church. Please, if you are a person of faith and you want to give us your thoughts and your prayers, we want them and we need them. Our community is hurting, but we need policies in place that will keep this from happening again, so that thoughts and prayers do not have to be offered to yet another community ripped apart by the savage violence coming from guns.
You know who I just noticed was missing from that press conference? Republican Representative Thomas Massie. Maybe he was too busy taking photos with his family groping guns for next year's Christmas card. Look, there's an easy way to stop this, and it's with preventative policies like red flag laws, background checks, and an assault weapons ban, just to name a few. However, religious morons like Marjorie Taylor Greene take it personally and will blame anything but the gun, like not following God.
After the tragic shootings, the one in Buffalo, then the next one in Uvalde. Now we've had another one in Oklahoma. But actually, there's shootings all the time in cities like Chicago, Detroit, Atlanta, New York, LA. They happen all the time all over America, but for some reason, the media tends to concentrate on only certain mass shootings with certain shooters. So the Democrats have gone into overdrive because they think it's the time to address gun control, which will do nothing. It won't change anything, because all of us with common sense know that these shootings are happening because of many reasons. Issues like mental illness, issues with people who have turned away from God, the rapid moral decline in America, and so many other big problems.
As a supposed Christian, Marjorie Taylor Greene has an incredibly deranged and sick perspective on human life. But then again, knowing who she is, are we really all that surprised? I mean, she believes in QAnon and Jewish space lasers. And if God really was the solution, wouldn't he have stopped the slaughtering of his innocent children in those schools at Sandy Hook, Uvalde, and Nashville? And Republicans will then tell you that you should not blame God, but instead blame the shooter's free will, which was pure demonic evil. If Republicans really want to make the good versus evil free will argument, then they should use said free will to protect others by passing gun safety laws. I mean, the amount of energy and mental gymnastics that the Republican Party will do to not talk about the actual problem, which is guns, is astounding. They'll blame doors, violent video games, pot psychosis, mentally ill trans shooters, and apparently now, it's pronouns. Seriously, I'm not kidding. The right is blaming the Louisville shooting on the fact that the shooter had he/him pronouns listed on his LinkedIn profile. I am sick and tired of having to watch another mass shooting where Republicans come up with a random excuse that isn't the gun, as if they're pulling suggestions out of a hat. And when right-wing media does cover it, places like Fox News cut it off midstream.
There are so many people who want to do something, who have offered to help, who see this nightmare unfold and want to make it better somehow. We love and appreciate that so much. For those of you who are looking to take action right now.
So we've been listening to the news conference held by officials after the mass shooting yesterday in Louisville, Kentucky. That is the mayor, Craig Greenberg, who was expressing some political thoughts there. I'm not sure if all of that was necessary.
Wait, did I miss something? What was political about what Mayor Greenberg said?
For those of you who are looking to take action right now, to show your support for the first responders who are trying to save lives, and for the victims of gun violence, one great way to do that is to donate blood.
So Fox News cut off the broadcast because Mayor Greenberg was telling people who wanted to help that they could donate blood? Fox News is cold-blooded, and once again proves that Republicans are not pro-life. It should not be this difficult to care enough about human life to do something to stop mass shootings.
This isn't about partisan politics. This is about life and death. This is about preventing tragedies.
And I think Representative McGarvey said it best.
People's lives aren't political. Public safety isn't political. Put those policies in place that put people first. People over guns, kids over guns, public safety over guns. Because that is what we need to address this problem.
Well, until next episode, I'm Gabe Sanchez, and this has been What Was That? If you enjoyed today's episode and want to support the work that goes into creating the What Was That show, you can join my Patreon at whatwasthatshow.com. You'll get access to early episodes, exclusive bits, behind-the-scenes content, access to the show's private Discord, as well as live Q&As to connect directly with me to offer up comments, questions, and suggested topics to be featured on the show. Thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you over on Patreon.